When you meet someone for the very first time, before they even speak, before they so much as smile, your brain has already formed a judgment. Within seconds, maybe even milliseconds, you've decided if they're trustworthy, competent, likable, or worth your time. This automatic process is what psychologists call the first impression, and it's one of the most powerful forces in human interaction. So why does this happen so fast? And can we ever truly recover from a bad first impression? Let's dive into the psychology of first impressions. Our brains are wired for survival. For early humans, the ability to quickly judge whether someone was a threat or an ally was crucial. This survival mechanism is still with us today. When we encounter a new face, our brains process it using a region called the amygdala, known for its role in detecting threat, and the fusiform face area, which specializes in facial recognition. Within 1/10 of a second, we're already labeling someone as warm or cold, strong or weak, friend or foe. But here's the catch. First impressions are often based more on intuition than information. They rely heavily on appearance, body language, tone of voice, and even context. Are they well-dressed? Do they make eye contact? Do they smile? Do they interrupt? We may believe we're being fair or rational, but studies show that our first impressions are influenced by biases, many of which we're not even aware of. Things like height, posture, race, gender, and attractiveness can all skew how we perceive someone. This is what psychologists refer to as implicit bias. It's not always malicious, but it's real, and it affects our decisions, even when we think we're being objective. What's more, first impressions tend to be sticky. Once we've made up our mind about someone, we're more likely to interpret their future behavior in a way that confirms our original belief. This is called the confirmation bias. If you decide someone is confident, you'll likely see their actions through that lens. If you believe someone is untrustworthy, you may dismiss or downplay their positive qualities. We don't just make snap judgments, we defend them, sometimes without realizing it. Now, let's flip the perspective. What are people noticing about you when they meet you for the first time? Research tells us that people are particularly sensitive to two traits in a first impression: warmth and competence. Warmth answers the question, "Can I trust you?" Competence answers, "Can I respect you?" These two traits work together to form the foundation of how we're perceived. Too much competence without warmth? You might come off as intimidating. Too much warmth without competence? You may be liked, but not taken seriously. So how do you make a strong first impression? It starts with presence. Being fully engaged, making eye contact, offering a genuine smile, and showing interest in the other person. These are subtle cues that signal warmth. Meanwhile, posture, clarity of speech, and confidence in your movements can convey competence. You don't have to be perfect, just intentional. But here's the good news. First impressions can be changed. They're powerful, yes, but not permanent, especially when we have repeated exposure to someone. As we gather more information, our initial judgments can evolve. Sometimes, the people we like the least at first become our closest allies. And sometimes, the people we trust right away disappoint us. The real magic happens when we slow down, question our assumptions, and give others the space to show who they really are, beyond the first few seconds. Because ultimately, while first impressions may open the door, it's our ongoing behavior, character, and consistency that determine the relationship that follows. So the next time you meet someone new, or worry about how you came across, remember this: you're not just meeting them. You're meeting your own expectations, your own instincts, and your own story about what people are like. The more aware you are of that process, the more power you have to shape it, for yourself and for others. First impressions may be fast, but wisdom takes its time. Thanks for watching.